You're listening to Polished Woman, only on LA Talk Radio.
Good afternoon, Polished Women. A very, very interesting topic for today. And I have actually my daughter here and her friend Kaya listening because it's about relationship. Woo-hoo. Okay, our topic for today is signs that your partner is actually cheating. Because next week we are talking about people who got cheated on and who cheated on their spouses or their partners or whatever. So I want to find out, what are the signs that your partner is actually cheating? So when you get into a relationship with someone, you're generally not thinking what happens if this person cheats. And if you are, then you probably shouldn't be dating them. But the reality is that people do cheat. Sometimes this is obvious, but other times it isn't. In fact, sometimes you're the last person that would know that your partner is cheating. So today I am joined by your ultimate wingman, Samantha Ross, the top men's dating coach in America. And of course, our dearest friend, she's our makeup artist, hairstylist, and the show Sabra, and by other celebrities, Sabra Miller.
Hi.
I invited Sabra because when she does her makeup and hair to all these celebrities, most of the time, they go to you and they tell you their problems, or you can see, right?
Right.
That
For the record, I'm not here because I've been cheated on.
No.
For the
record. She has a very good.
Like, wait, what? Disclaimer. Or that I'm cheating.
No. But
yes,
she's the go-to person, of this people that she does makeup with most of the time.
My chair becomes like a therapist chair, basically.
Yes.
I'm like the hairdresser, the makeup artist, and people just sort of divulge everything from, their husbands are cheating or they think their boyfriend's cheating, and the links they're willing to go to find out.
Yeah.
And that can be kind of crazy. So
that's why I think this is important. So Samantha, this is what she does. She advises men for us women.
That's right, ladies.
Right? Can you tell us more about this?
Yeah, thank you so much, Jess.
Yeah.
So I used to coach women a lot, and I was also coaching men and a lot of my guy friends, and they were like, you have got to start focusing on men. Men need you. And I figured, the best way that I can help women is by really focusing and helping men to understand and learn more about us, and having an access to a female that they can really talk to and get real-time one-on-one advice, is invaluable to them. So it's really fulfilling. And I work with guys all day long talking about this stuff all the time.
Yeah.
So tell us, what do I say to these girls when they come to me and they say, I think my husband's cheating? Here I am. I don't have that type of
the makeup.
I'll just take notes.
I know, yes.
What do I say?
Just hand them my phone number and tell them to call me.
There you go.
Because Sabra, when you're doing their makeup, right away when they come to you, you see, okay, her face is different, or when a person is happy, when they're in love, and also if they're not.
Oh, absolutely.
In a good mood,
and
right?
It's not just by looking at them. They're going to literally tell me what has gone on and what they think they've found, and all kinds of situations that they've found themselves in. Yeah. And there I am, listening to crazy stuff. It's just like, well, you put a tracker on his car? I mean, like, what?
Yeah. It's really something that can get out of control. And I will say, excuse me, that my primary focus when I work with men is in the dating phase, and so much of what I'm doing is helping to set them up for success. So all of this is avoided. So I'm not dealing with a lot of men who are actively cheating because they're single, but they've definitely been cheated on, or they have cheated at some point. And the good news is, and I was talking to Sabra before we came on today, men and women cheat for the same reason. And that reason,
what is it?
The reason that men and women cheat is that one of the 6 primary human needs that we all have, and it's not negotiable, is not being met. And we don't have enough time to go really deep diving into that, but your partner's needs and finding out what lights them up and how they experience love and what they need to feel love and to feel number one, it is your job to find that out and be creative about lifting them up and loving them in that way. A lot of times too, what we do is we love people the way we want to be loved, and then we don't understand why they don't feel loved.
Right.
Or why they don't feel desired. And if you're not doing that, then you start running into problems where people are feeling neglected, resentful, and they start looking in other places and other people to get those needs met. And sadly, it's really scary to go to somebody you're dating or a spouse and be like, I am thinking about cheating. Sometimes that feels...
Why do you even want to think about cheating? Why don't you just end the relationship before doing something else? Why do you have to go through cheating and get caught before
because that's how we are. We want instant gratification, and we're going to go to the thing that's going to make us feel pleasure first. And getting your need met, whether it's sexually or emotionally, from another person who's like this new, unknown territory is so much easier and more gratifying than like dealing with the relationship fraught with problems. But you're absolutely right. And then the other part is like, it's very scary to go and say, we're not having sex, or I don't feel loved, and I'm starting to want to sleep with somebody else, and we need to deal with this. Most relationships, you don't have the space and the trust to even have that conversation.
Okay, so wait, how do you define cheating? I think this is something that we all have to learn and to know your own definition. I want us to all be in the same page for this.
That is such a good question.
Yeah.
Right.
It really is. It's a great question.
Yeah. It depends on the relationship too. A lot of people have open relationships. A lot of people are married. A lot of people are, it can be a lot of, in each couple has their own definition of what's cheating. Because if my husband is going to do anything, I consider that cheating.
Yeah.
What is anything?
Anything. If he's going to kiss someone, if he's going to romance someone, if he's gonna, now granted, if he's going to dinner with a business partner, that's not cheating. If he does anything sexual, that's cheating.
Is emotional affair
emotional
cheating?
Is that
emotional affair cheating?
An emotional affair is often much more hurtful and damaging than a physical
more hurtful.
one.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess in my personal viewpoint, I do tend to think of cheating more as a physical act.
Right.
And I would say that while an emotional affair is more damaging, I think it's also easier to come back from that, like as a couple, to overcome that if a physical bond has not, a physical line has not been crossed.
But once they've made that emotional connection, then what? Because then you really, he's falling for somebody else at that point.
Not necessarily falling in love, but if you're going to another person to get a need met, like maybe you can speak to this person outside of the relationship on an intimate level that you can't with your partner, and then this bond starts to grow, and then it's like, that is really very painful. But I do think that if the partner who has been lacking in that area can really use it as an opportunity and to grow and to step up and be there, you can really come back for it.
And sometimes a best friend can be that, and it can just be a coincidence that they're a male or a female.
Well, I think that's where we get into the whole element of trust and how very
and
what
your relationship is like at the core.
And I think also for the friend person, that happened to us when I moved here. My first close friend had some sort of like an emotional, thing with my husband for like 4 days. But I'm like one of those wives that are like, I check every single thing that I check my husband's phone. I check.
Wait, you do? Doesn't that
Am I
crazy?
Yeah.
No, okay, I will say this. It works for some. Personally, I would be exhausted by that. No. But some couples, I know couples where they're like, I'm insane. I'm a snooper, and the husband's like, okay, and if he doesn't have anything to hide, then it's okay with him.
Like the woman that put the tracker on her husband's car. People snoop through emails. People do all kinds of stuff to try and catch them.
But ultimately, what you're not doing is dealing with why there is a mistrust, which is something to do in you.
Well, because I grew up I was a woman, like a womanizer. I cheat.
She was a man-eater, kid.
Yeah.
She understands.
That's what she's trying to
cheated.
say.
She knows the other side of it.
It's in my book. In Date Like a Girl, Marry Like a Woman, I cheated all my life. And when I married my husband, I never thought I was going to get married. I never
Look at your daughter. She's like, what?
I never believed in marriage. I had like 2 kids, from a previous relationship, and I never, believed in that. And I know every single what do you call that, like way of cheating and stuff. I kind of like
know how to get around it.
I know how to get around. So when it's not that I don't trust my husband, but I felt like, okay, I needed to like. But if I felt like if I did not somehow open the what do you call that, it could have it could have gotten into like a more like
dangerous
a deeper,
place.
dangerous relationship. But because I did, I was able. But he's like, I felt like when I went to a therapist as well, I felt like he said, no, you know what? For him to put that on and did not delete anything, he wanted me to see that because I wasn't doing my job as a wife. But in reality, it helped me become a good wife and a good, partner to him. And
Well,
I'm
here's my
actually
question.
glad it happened.
Because I have a private men's Facebook group that
Ooh.
that's
Single
right.
women, single women, you should be friends with Samantha.
That's right. It's private, ladies. But I asked them about this a few days ago after we talked. I wanted to get their thoughts on it, and one of them came back and was like, "Why do women cheat? So why were you this serial cheater? What was?"
I was not,
Jessica.
How do I
the
say this?
serial
I was
cheater.
not. I was not happy. I couldn't find the happiness that I was trying to find, or
You
the
weren't in love.
satisfaction. I wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't finding the love.
So were you cheating to then get out of the relationship?
I think so.
Yeah.
Right.
I always believe.
I know this
Yeah.
pattern.
And another thing. I was scared to get brokenhearted.
And was there a part of you that was like, I'm going to cheat on you before you cheat on me?
Yes. And so what I
I'm gonna
did
hurt
was
you
I
before you hurt me.
dated, and I feel like I cannot be in one relationship. I always have 4 of them, and I always like choose, like I always have a backup. And because of that, because I don't want to. That's why I always tell them. I said I was never brokenhearted.
Right.
Never.
Because if you were never brokenhearted, that means you were never in love. You were never vulnerable.
And that's
enough
why
to
she
go
was
there.
cheating, because she was
Up
never in
until
love.
this.
Therefore, she was cheating. She had nothing to really lose. Until she fell in love, did she not cheat?
Yeah, and
Interesting.
up until I had this whole thing with my husband and my ex-friend, but in fairness, when I see her, I really will hug her because I've learned every single thing that I'm advising right now on how to be a good wife, a good lover, a good partner.
Wait, this is the friendship that kind of was getting a little uncomfortable between the friend
and most of the time when I advise women, the relationship that their spouses would have are always with friends.
Oh yeah, you
Why
always
is
get
that,
comfortable.
right?
Well,
Why is
you
that?
know,
A lot
that's
of
a
it
really
is.
great thing.
Because you spend your time with
First
those
of all,
people.
you're a friend group. You spend a lot of time together. And what's funny to me, though, is how surprised everyone is when friends fall for each other that are in different relationships. It's like, it actually makes the most sense of anything. Of course, you're going to be attracted to each other and each other's people because you all have these common attractions as friends and people.
Yeah.
So actually, like the interchanging of partners, while it's a boundary that really should not be crossed unless you're swingers, but that's another show.
That's another show.
Then
That's a different show.
it's like when a guy and a girl are dating and they break up and she starts dating the best friend and people are like, that is so up. And it's like, is it really? I mean, she liked you. Why wouldn't she like your best friend? You guys are best friends.
It's like couples that always hang out together and a spouse will die and then they get married.
There was like a famous
familiarity
as an actor or singer that they used to like travel together and then they exchange
Partners.
partners.
Oh, I've heard that's happening a
Totally.
lot.
And even with this is very open out there. Who is this singer, the famous one, Max? She's a famous singer, country singer, and then that was her best friend, and he. had,
Blake Shelton and Amanda, and what's her name?
No, it's a different.
Where's Stefani?
No, not Gwen Stefani. I
Shania
forgot.
Twain?
Shania Twain, right? Yeah.
Shania Twain.
Yeah, Shania Twain.
I don't know really
and
anything about Shania's
her
personal life.
best friend so that her husband had an affair with the best friend. So anyway, so now the question is, how do you know if the guy is cheating?
Oh God.
Okay,
Yeah.
now
No,
this is like,
yeah.
let's
Well,
go to the
this is good.
topic.
You install
yeah.
a Nest camera. No, I'm just kidding.
Nest camera. They don't even.
I think you start to
what are
see
some of the
behavior.
signs you've
and
heard?
some of the that's exactly right. Some of the women have said that they start to have just a different schedule. They'll take more trips for business. They
Yeah.
will smell different, deodorant. Well, and I have friends that have done crazy things smelling stuff. So they just notice different stuff, and they'll just catch them doing, in a
Yeah.
lie, saying, "Oh, I went here," when really they didn't.
Yeah.
And with Instagram and all the different social media stuff, people are always taking your photo, and they're always posting stuff. So
Yeah.
you can get caught pretty easily if you're not really careful.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the
don't be a
number
fool.
one trigger is, or warning sign is, people are creatures of habit.
Yeah.
And if there's any deviation
It's
in
true.
a behavior,
Oh,
coming home later
yeah.
and later, not calling as much, things like this, those can send up warning signs. I mean, those are definitely flags. There's also just, like you say, I mean, it is hard to keep a secret in today's
Oh
age
yeah,
of
you can't.
technology.
Yeah,
I mean,
you can't keep secrets.
you think you're
nowadays.
hiding or deleting something, it's in a cloud, it gets
Yeah.
down onto like the family iPad. I mean, my friend got
Yeah.
busted that way. He
Yeah.
was like, I thought that I deleted it and it was in the cloud, and I was like, the cloud.
Yeah.
But-
You're gonna get caught.
Sometimes they want to get caught.
Sometimes
A
they
lot
do.
of
No,
times
that's
people
so
want to get
true.
caught.
Yeah, they want to get caught.
They want out.
The thing about this that I really feel like I have to say as a person who's really invested in trying to help people be fulfilled in this area of their lives is that the whole thing makes me uncomfortable, this sort of like operating from like, what are warning signs and how do I know I'm being cheated on and all this
Yeah.
stuff. It's like what needs to happen is laying a foundation of trust and stability, and it's almost like an agreement, a standard at which you want to be operating with the other person, a standard at which the relationship is being held to.
Okay.
And from there, things can grow, but I just am very uncomfortable with kind of the Band-Aid of like, well, this is, how you're being cheated on. And I think it's
Yeah.
important. And I think
Yeah.
it's a really good
Yeah.
topic.
But then do something afterwards that
But
is positive.
or
that
do
can
something
maybe enrich.
before.
Yeah, before.
Yeah.
That can
Yeah, I
enrich.
feel like as much as
Don't
the
get to
topic
that
needs
point.
to be addressed, it's a symptom, and the real cure is much more about self-respect and loving your partner and holding yourself to a standard and having the courage to not take the easy way. Because I'll tell you, cheating
Right.
is the easy way.
Yeah.
And it doesn't help things.
Okay,
No.
there's a
And you might find somebody else, but you're going to have same issues with them too. No one's perfect.
yeah. There's a
So-
question here from Sam. How do you approach the hard conversation from with the person that you are
In a relationship.
dating, in a relationship with, if they are cheating? That's hard.
Wait,
Well,
so
I'm
they
like,
meaning how do you confront them how do you confront them about
confront them.
cheating? Okay, do you want me to answer this?
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, she doesn't know.
I'm just here to
She'll
do
advise.
her hair and
She'll
makeup.
advise.
How do we look?
Remember the disclosure in the beginning.
First
will
of all,
advise.
look amazing before you have So you
That's
want
so true. Look amazing.
I will
Look
say this.
beautiful when you
look
go
beautiful.
It's going to be a really hard conversation because you're going to be emotional and you're going to be in a really not your best state, not your strongest state, but you need to wait until you have calmed down. And you need
Okay,
to
that's
wait until
good.
you're grounded, and you need to wait till you are as much as possible in a neutral place. Look, the inclination is to like go to his office. I'm assuming this is a woman.
Which one?
They
Well,
asked
yeah.
the question. Go to
Yeah.
his or her office and knock down the door and drive your car through the window and just be like, yeah, mother. But you can't do that
No.
because you are going to completely lose ground,
Yeah.
and it's
And
not
it's
going to
also
be
humiliating
productive.
for yourself, embarrassing for yourself.
You also have to
as
think
well.
about the outcome.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
do
I mean-
you want to find the truth so that you can work on the relationship? Just ending a relationship is not that easy. It's
Yeah.
painful. You might be in love with the person still. You might have children. It's
Yeah.
expensive. So whatever the case might be, you know, I say give yourself a little bit of space, as difficult as that might be.
Right.
And also, if you can be the bigger person and come to them in a calm manner where you're letting them know that, like, look, I want you to tell me the truth, and I want to hear about this from you. It's really painful. This is really hard for me to talk to you. I'm really hurting inside.
Yeah.
But what's more important to me is our relationship and finding out what's really going on for you.
Yes.
And you can talk to me. You will get, and know that this is much easier said than done. It's really difficult to have that kind of conversation, but you will grow as a person from it, and you will get what you really want, which is answers. And some kind of dialogue going, and
Yes.
and
That's
up
so
until
true. That
now,
is
a
true.
dialogue hasn't been happening, I'm sure.
Right.
But if you
Yeah.
come at somebody,
Oh yeah, and it depends
There's-
on what you want the outcome
Yeah.
to be. If
And
you want it to
especially-
be over, if you want to be able to stay.
if
in
you
the
don't
marriage,
care,
or-
then you freak out.
yeah.
Especially if it's a man. If you're
Right.
confronting a man, men do not do well with, like, being barraged
Yes.
with so much talk from us.
They actually don't.
They don't operate that way.
And they don't listen to us.
So
They
They will
talk.
shut down.
They will shut down,
and they will just piss
leave.
you off even more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
and you'll just end up hurting each other, right?
That's that's right, and that's a really good
Yeah.
question, and I hope that helped.
Yeah. Okay. So speaking of emotional, affair, if you had to rank them, what do you think are the top 3 warning signs that a person may be cheating emotionally? Because emotional cheating, by the way, affair is really hurtful, more hurtful than just having sex. I would always say this: just have sex, whatever, but having that emotional, like texting each other and like exchange of like love notes or like
Right.
it's really hurtful.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Or even
yeah.
if your partner is having a friendship with somebody where they're confiding in them and
Yes.
sharing their
Right. And
they're
struggles
not sharing it with
and
you.
feelings, and they're not
My
sharing it with
daughter
you. Like,
experienced
oh,
that.
Yeah.
It's
It's
so
like, well, what am I lacking?
Why?
What am I missing?
Why are you?
not,
are you
know?
talking to the other
Yeah.
girl? Why not me?
Instead of
I'm
me.
your girlfriend. I'm your wife.
Right.
So
Okay,
what are
so
the signs?
So
Yeah.
here's one of the signs is if before you have laid a foundation where you are really making a priority in the relationship time to connect, to catch up, to hear about each other's days, to check in with each other, you're going to have a much better advantage, because if that starts to change and he or she is not talking to you, it's going to be much more poignant. You're going to feel it much more and notice it more.
Right.
So that's why I'm saying, like, in the beginning, all this stuff, building the beginning stages is so important. And I would say if they're not talking to you, who are they talking to?
Right.
Yeah.
And maybe, and
that's
it's
It's
so
the same
tough.
thing. And it's the same thing with sex. If they're not having sex with you, then who
Who
are
are
they
they
having
having
sex with?
And look,
It's
it's
the same thing
tough,
with- yeah.
because men are not
Yeah,
naturally
they're
as
naturally
verbose as us.
Yeah.
But if you're
How do you get them to talk? Because they naturally don't really talk as much. Like with my
Right.
husband and I would always be the one starting. Okay, I need this like time with you. Like let's talk. I have that whole conversation.
Let's talk. Go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always say that. And
What do you want me to say?
Yeah.
No, but I always
My
do it.
daughter
I
does
think on
that.
the right time. I normally when I ask my husband, "Hey babe, can we talk?" It's always like we're already in bed. He's already relaxed. I know he's not. He's like about to just like go to sleep, and I know that he's relaxing
daughter.
time.
She's
And I
like-
talk to him, and you know what? We end up always, with a good
Connecting.
conversation and
Yeah.
connecting.
Okay, so here's a couple of pointers on getting
Never
guys to
in the
talk.
morning, right?
Roll up your sleeves.
No,
for this.
never in the morning.
Okay, what is this?
Take-
I want to know.
They're in a
Yes.
hurry.
Okay, first of all, you kind of scheduling it with them. I don't want to say ask your permission is a little strong, but if you just start like talking, it may not be a good time for him. Let's say we're talking about a guy here because it's a polished woman show. And but if you're like, honey, oh God, I feel like we haven't talked in days, and I would really love to connect with you a little bit. Can we can we have a glass of wine tonight?
Oh, that's so cool.
Can we make sure that we get some time to just kind of check in? You let me know when would be good for you, but I'm missing you. Would love to love to connect.
That's so true.
And then he's like,
Now he's interested.
okay,
Now
and
he wants
then
to have a glass of wine. and
That's-
talk.
okay, and then
So
this is
true.
what you have to say after you have the conversation. Write this down.
Max is
Okay.
Next, after you get what you want, after you get the conversation, be like, this has been amazing. This was like almost like having sex. This turned me on so much listening to you talk.
Yeah, well, because women
He will
need
not
to
stop
hear them.
talking.
Yeah,
He will be like, this is great. I'm going to keep talking.
Oh, that's so
yeah.
cool.
We need
That's
we need that
so true.
affirmation too.
Yes, that affirmation. And then
I hope my husband is not watching this.
because you're gonna use all the tips.
Because I'm going to tell him that.
And as women, we need to be sensitive to how men are and process. Like, you gotta understand your man's threshold. Like, some guys it's 45 seconds. Some guys it's 10 minutes. Some guys it's an hour, but like kind of being respectful of their capacity.
Yeah.
But I also think laying the breadcrumbs is good. Like maybe you're not trying to have these big heavy duty conversations right off the bat, but maybe it's a little something like even getting them to talk about bigger world issues.
Yeah.
Right.
And then start
Something that
bringing it
interests
down
them.
to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah,
So it's like, what did you think about what happened today in the news, right?
Yeah.
Well, and for married women, don't always talk about your children.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
you know,
we actually
you
very
get in
seldom
that
talk
rut.
about our
Sometimes you
children
can-
when we go out on date
Yeah,
nights.
it's like
That's such a
it's
great,
in-
great
Yeah.
It's
point.
really
We don't, 'cause
important
you talk about your
you gotta
kids.
connect.
Yeah.
You wanna
Who are you
always
without
be
your
about
kids?
them.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Because we always talk about kids every single day. So when
Yeah.
we go out on a date night, which is like
just-
2 hours
yeah.
or 3 hours,
No children.
we talk about just us.
You can
We talk
make it a
about-
game.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
find humor is the best for everything.
I know.
Like, just be like, okay, set a timer and be like, can we do it? Let's not talk about kids.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Already? That's so fast. Oh
She's
my
like,
gosh, wait. Do you think, hold on one second. Do you think that social media has made it easier or more difficult to cheat? To cheat.
To
shit.
shit.
I am not an expert on that, but
It's not our department.
Do you think that social media has made it easier or more difficult to cheat, not shit?
what do you think?
Well, we just said yes, much easier. I mean, much
It's-
harder.
No,
to cheat.
it's easier, but it's also harder.
It's harder to
I
get
feel
away
like.
with it if you are going to cheat.
Yes.
It puts a lot more opportunities to
It does.
connect
Oh, it's a lot,
and
yeah.
see people in your
Start
in your
texting them
range.
innocently, and yeah.
But yeah, I think for as much as it's made it easier, it's made it that much more difficult.
Okay, I like this question. Do you think that trends like benching, which is when a person who's dating multiple people temporarily stops talking to one of them in favor of pursuing another one, is form of cheating? Is that cheating?
Wait,
No,
so
wait.
they're dating? They're playing the
They're
field?
just dating.
Oh, okay.
No.
No, that's
Yeah,
not
that's
cheating.
not cheating.
That one's
That's
easy.
dating.
That is not cheating. And if you think it's cheating, you
That's
need
not
to.
cheating.
Yeah. No.
Okay,
that's dating.
one more question for her. One more question. Okay, I wanna ask her, and I want people to know. My daughter just asked her today, what do men really want, and what is one thing that they don't want?
Okay, I'm going to tell you what they don't
Yeah,
want.
because that was like a good question of my daughter, and she was like telling us, I'm like, oh my god, that's so true.
What they don't want
Yeah.
is to lose their freedom. And they do not want a needy, whiny, naggy person.
Yeah.
They don't want a needy girl.
No.
What
Yeah.
they want is a woman who has standards and who has a life that's fulfilling, that she loves, and that she is going to make room in her life to share with him.
Right.
That's what they want.
Yeah. She's got her own stuff going on.
Yeah.
They
She's
w-
not
and they
just-
like the
not
and they
hanging
want
out
a
with
woman
him.
that they can pursue and capture.
Yeah. You got to have something going on in your own life. You can't be boring.
Okay. Oh my
Well,
gosh!
we're gonna
I
have to
feel
do
like
part
I feel like I need more. Wait, this is amazing. I'm gonna have to invite her again. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And don't forget, buy Date Like a Girl, Marry Like a Woman. Okay. I will give my own advice, and let me see if she'll agree with this. Let me give you the possible signs of temptations first. Okay. Starting from glance, the glance can turn into a lustful look. Then comes the thought. At this stage, it's just an imagination of desire and pleasure. then you do the action. That is when you actually will find out when the man is cheating. As soon as you see or feel something is different, something is wrong, there's something you feel in your gut or changes, in your relationship, trust your gut. Most of the time, it's right. For me, my advice is really to do your job as a wife. Be a wife and not his mom, not his best friend, but be his lover, be his girlfriend. Do not stop trying and finding out things about your man and vice versa. And communicate. I know it's such a cliche, but communicate. Like, I always talk to my husband if, I'm sorry, if, for example, our sex is not good, blah, blah, we should do something. We communicate most of the time. Because, it's hard when you've been married for a long time, years. It's hard. You can't, even me, I was a manizer. I was I get bored easily. Remember that when a person cheats, tip of the day, cheats, it's not necessarily about you or even about your relationship. Oftentimes, it's a matter of them fulfilling one of their needs or desires. So while the act can feel personal, I urge you not to take it personally and instead engage in self-care and healing for yourself. You need that. Thank you so much. And where can they find you? Where can they find you?
Cheers.
Your ultimate wingman, SamanthaRoss.com.
Okay, thank you so much, guys.
Your ultimate
Don't forget
wingman.
to give love to the person that you see after watching the show. Cheers,
Cheers,
guys.
guys.
Happy New Year.
You're listening to Polished Woman, only on LA Talk Radio.